Live from the headquarters of Ramsey Solutions, broadcasting from the Pods Moving and Storage Studio, it's The Ramsey Show, where we help people build wealth, do work they love, and create amazing relationships. I'm Ramsey personality George Camel, joined this hour by the amazing Jade Warshaw, and we're taking your calls at 888-825-5225. You jump in if you've got a question about money, you heard something on social media, you're wondering if it's true, your broke brother-in-law gave you some real estate advice. Let us be the third party to talk you off the ledge and avoid some terrible decisions. And if you've made some terrible decisions and you're self-aware, call into the show. We want to help you climb out of that hole. We are specialists in that because we've done a lot of dumb things ourselves, and we're happy to help. 888-825-5225. Well, it's been a fun week on the show. I kicked it off with my friend Ken Coleman, and we talked about the value of the U.S. dollar and why you should be more worried about your own personal behavior than a total economic collapse. And then, Jade, you and Dr. John Deloney had some spicy calls this week.
Oh, my gosh. A woman called in where her mother-in-law had stolen $300,000 out of the inherited IRA.
I would have fallen out of my chair.
I did.
Goodness
Almost.
gracious. And you guys talked about the perfect storm of stupid money habits brewing in America right now.
Yeah, that's right. All the credit cards and HELOCs and taking out all this debt, how it's affecting Americans at a very real, very catastrophic level.
And then you wrapped it up with some crazy stuff that, we've all done to get out of debt. You specifically did some extra crazy stuff.
Oh, yeah. I told John the story about searching for a keyboard that ended up being worth only $20. And I also told him, George, the story of the infamous nude cruise.
I just heard the story today, and it just tickled me. So be sure to go back, listen to this week's podcast episodes on your favorite podcasting platform, YouTube, or our Ramsey Network app, and check those out.
Yes. I can see the studio audience. They really want to know more about that nude cruise.
A lot of intrigue.
You got to watch the episode.
That's what we call a tease in the biz. All right. Let's kick it off with Josh in New York City. Josh, how are you doing this hour?
Very good. How are you?
We're doing well. How can we help?
I'm calling because I have $8,500 in credit card debt. Self-employed, but the past couple months, the money's been pretty much, unemployed levels. It's been really bad. So I know I need to get a full or part-time job to pay off this debt. But I've been working in film for a year, and I want to figure out, how to keep my career going and combine these two and pay off the debt quick.
Okay, cool. So you're working in film, and the work has been pretty dry lately.
It's been hit and miss.
What would you say on average is your monthly income from this?
Well, I do this and Uber also, but really it maybe like $400.
$400 a month from film?
Yeah.
How long has it been like that?
And then Uber on the side. Maybe like 2-3 months.
Okay, and before that, how much were you making?
Probably in total, maybe like 800.
So how have you been surviving? Because you live in New York City. So what have you been doing to cover the bills?
I live with my family.
Okay, so you have low expenses, but you've been going into credit card debt to cover what?
The debt was actually because I had a 6-month alcohol problem, and I just racked up a bunch of debt like an idiot. Yeah.
What are you doing to help out with that alcohol problem? Are you seeing somebody? Are you in counseling?
Yeah, I've been 3 weeks clean, and I have a counselor. So
awesome. That's great news.
Yeah.
So let's talk about the money side. You've got $8,500 in credit card debt. You have low expenses because you live with family. Do you have any other type of debt?
No, just this.
Okay. What are you doing in film? What exact role?
I act, but also I do different jobs on set, lighting, assisting, second directing.
Okay. I imagine in New York City, there's all kinds of side hustle opportunities outside of the film industry completely, outside of even Uber.
Yeah.
And so I would start to look at what skills you have, and even if there are no skills, everyone can go get a retail job, work in hospitality, serving, coffee shops, you name it.
That's right. George makes a good point, Josh. Just, when you're in the arts, sometimes the lure is, well, this is my job, this is my craft, and you kind of don't want to put any time into anything else. But at the end of the day, you do have to make money. You got to eat. You got to make those ends meet so that you're not having to go into credit cards and things like that. But I kind of want to raise another issue here, because it sounds like this has been going on for far too long. Just this kind of barely getting by, barely making it. And of course, you kind of had that bout with alcoholism. And I really want to challenge you to get to the bottom of what that is, because something is eating away at you to the point that you're not doing all that you could be to go after this. And in my opinion, it seems like it's linked in some way. So I want to really encourage you to keep getting to the bottom of what's causing you to kind of put forth minimal effort in this, what's kind of causing you to revert to some negative behaviors there. Because I don't think that us just telling you, hey, here's what to do with your money is necessarily going to be your solution today, although we're happy to do that. Am I touching on something?
Yeah, I mean, one thing, the reason that, probably a big reason about why my income with film is like this now is because during those 6 months when I was like that, I turned down a lot of work that I shouldn't have, so I kind of derailed my career for a bit. And
Do you have an agent that you're working with that helps you book these gigs?
I do it just myself at casting agencies and, friends and anything on the internet.
Okay. Now, I'm guessing you have a lot of friends in this industry.
I have a couple, yeah.
I would start conversations with them. You want to find something that's flexible to where if a gig came up, you could go take that gig and do this work that you love that pays really well. But in the meantime, I'm getting a full-time kind of retail job that has a more flexible schedule because we can't live off $400 a month.
Yeah.
And so we need a bigger shovel right now so that one day you can get out of your parents' house. Is that the ultimate goal?
I planned on doing that this year, but I got terribly derailed last year,
Life hits you. How old are you?
26.
Okay. Well, the good news is you've got lots of time on your side, and I want you to dig deep and find that why. That's what's going to keep you going when you're like, why I'm working 60 hours a week. I'm not doing the thing I want to do. Find that deep why. If that's, I want to get out of debt so I have the freedom to do acting and pursue film, that's a great why. If it's because I don't want to live with mom and dad anymore when I'm 34, that's also a great why. And we're going to give you a tool to help with that called Financial Peace University, as well as Every Dollar Premium. That's going to help with budgeting. It's going to help you get this new information. It's going to help motivate you to actually change your life and keep it that way.
Yeah. And write those goals down. Write them down on paper, put it somewhere where you see it every day, whether it's those sticky notes on the mirror, share it with somebody so that there's some accountability in place, because that's really what's going to motivate you to get to the next level with this thing.
Absolutely. Hang on the line. Austin's going to pick up. We will hook you up with Financial Peace University and Every Dollar. We're cheering you on, man. Addiction is one of the most difficult things a person can go through, and the fact that you're on the path, you're working to get to a point in life where you're doing the work you love and getting paid to do it. I'm just so proud of you, man. Stay the course. This is The Ramsey Show.
Y'all, there's a lot you can't control when it comes to healthcare, but there is something you should check out that can help. Christian Healthcare Ministries. CHM is not insurance. It is budget-friendly, biblically based health cost sharing. That means a community of members helping share the burden of each other's healthcare costs. They help people just like you in all 50 states. So see if CHM could be right for your family. Learn more today at chministries.org/budget.
Welcome back to The Ramsey Show. I'm George Campbell, joined this hour by Jade Warshaw, and we're taking your calls at 888-825-5225. All right, Jade, about 1,000 people have sent this news over to me, and so I feel like we have to talk about it before the week is over, and it's about Apple. And I'm a big Apple fanboy. I used to work at the Apple store. I look like just every Apple employee you've ever seen, and I'm a big fan of Apple, but I'm not a fan of their latest program, Apple Pay Later.
Oh, no! No!
It's here, folks. And it's more dangerous than I could even explain, Jade. You know why? Because no one has to sign up for it. It's already built into your iPhone.
I hate this. I hate it already, and I don't even fully know what it is yet, but I kind of do.
So, we decided to make this a surprise for Jade. Because I'm a giant nerd, so I'm just looking up this stuff all day long.
Run down the facts for me, George.
So on Tuesday, Apple launched Apple Pay Later, and it allows users to split purchases into 4 interest-free payments paid over 6 weeks with no additional fee.
Hate it.
So you buy something for $100, Apple Pay, while you're checking out with Apple Pay, says, hey, why pay $100 now? You can pay $25 now and pay the other $75 over the course of 6 weeks.
So you're paying $25 a week for a $100 purchase?
Ish. It's over 6 weeks.
Okay.
So there's no interest or fees. You're not paying any more for the product. So people out there are going, well, George, Jade, what's wrong with this?
What's wrong with it? There's so many things wrong with it.
Well,
Keep going.
So here's what happens. Prior to making a purchase, Apple Pay Later users can apply for a loan. So I'm glad they call out that it is a loan, people.
Why,
It's not a loan. Between $50 and $1,000 is what you can use this for.
Oh, my gosh.
You can use it for in-app purchases, online, retailers that accept Apple Pay, which is pretty much everyone these days. And so Apple conducts a soft credit check. They review your credit score, and they promise that this process won't impact your score. And if you're approved, you'll see all of these payments in your Apple Wallet. And so it's built into Apple Wallet. It'll show exactly what you owe. And that's it. You're applying for a loan right at checkout. And so as you spend during the week, you have all these tiny little micro loans that you owe money on. Now you're wondering, what's the catch, right? Because it's a 0% interest rate. There's no fees. 4 payments over 6 weeks. But here's the catch, Jade. Apple makes money from the transaction fees.
Yes.
Right? The swipe fees, they're the interchange fees. So when you make a purchase, Apple gets a cut of that. And so Apple stays out of the fray here. You know who you're going to hate?
The bank.
The bank. Because what happens when you have 17 payments and you can't budget for that, and so all of a sudden you overdraft because you didn't realize how much you actually spent, because in your brain you spent 25% of that amount, and now you overdraft, and that incurs a $35 fee, $40 fee every single time it overdrafts.
I am just beside myself. I need for people to understand, if $100, look, I don't want you putting anything on payments, but if $100 purchase or a $50 purchase, you're like, you know what, let me just spread this out over 6 weeks. You can't afford it. You ain't got no money.
Here's the worst part, Jade, the VP of Apple Pay, her name's Jennifer. She said in the press release, she said, well, we built this because we care about the financial health of our users. That's what we had the financial health of our users in mind, and we want them to have flexibility, Jade. That's all it is.
Here's the thing.
Why spend all that money now? They have other bills to pay.
Okay, then let's let the viewer weigh this, or the listener, I should say, weigh this. Are we going to listen to Jennifer, who we've already understood is getting a kickback every time you go into debt? Or are you going to listen to just me and good old George here on the radio, who are making no money off of this? We just care about your well-being. We understand the damage that debt does to people. Like, you're eroding your future for a $25 payment. If you didn't have the $100 today or the extra $25 today, chances are you're not going to have it next week. You're not going to have it the week after that. And then I'm just thinking about just the generality of this. Like, if you're spreading money and payments over weeks, most people aren't getting money every week. Most people are on they get paid twice a month or once a month, that sort of thing. Like, this is a bad idea. This is a bad idea, George.
Here's a financial concept.
Oh.
Don't buy things you can't afford. It's so old-timey. And so let me make this very clear for all of you watching out there. Apple doesn't give a rip about your financial health. Yeah. They exist to make money. They are launching this to make money and steal market share from all of these buy now, pay later companies that are out there.
And more than that,
that's it.
You can tell by the type of debt this is who it's aimed at. All right? The folks who've got a little bit of money, they're not doing buy now, pay later.
It's buy now, pay now.
It's buy now, pay now. This is aimed at lower income people who are living paycheck to paycheck, people who are already struggling, and they're making a bad situation worse. And I can't stand that, George. I cannot stand companies who their entire income structure is based off of you or me failing, you or me defaulting, you or me not being able to make ends meet. I hate companies that earn money that way. And I, for one, refuse to participate in it. I hope that you do too, man. This is terrible stuff. This is like the payday lender. This is like the digital payday lender.
Yeah, but it looks better because there's no interest and fees. So they go, well, Jade, it's a great option. But here's what Klarna found, and they brag about this to retailers. These buy now, pay later companies, they're scum. Klarna on their website bragged to retailers that consumers will spend up to 45% more if you have buy now, pay later on your website.
Wow. And here's the thing.
They're telling you what they're doing to you, and all of you out there are going, sucks to be them. And yet, on Twitter, if you look up any of these companies, they'll be like, oh, dang, Klarna going to kill me this month with all these payments. Oh, well, YOLO.
I hate it.
This is the mentality of a generation.
But here's the thing, and here's where the internet gets us. Because most, I'm going to be careful how I say this. Most of us who use buy now, pay later, we would not be willing to walk into a payday loan store. Because you feel the stigma, you see it, it's always in that side of town, or it's always, you don't want to walk into there, and you don't want to, tell your friend, hey, I'll be right back, I'm just going to the payday loan store. You don't want to tell them that. But because it's digitized, it looks fancier, it looks sleek. It's like, hey, it's just buy now, pay later. But I guarantee you, we wouldn't do that if it was put in a different format. Do you know what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah. I mean, it lives in our pocket.
It lives in our pocket.
There's no shame. It's just us. And here's what it is. It's frictionless spending.
Yeah.
And the more convenient we make it, the stupider we get and the more broke we become. It's that simple.
Yeah. Talk about that, George, the frictionless spending, because we know the studies around that, the difference between how your brain actually functions when you spend money with cash versus plastic versus really nothing, just the magic of the interwebs, right?
When you go to the grocery store with $200 cash from your envelope system because you're working this plan, it physically pains you to hand over $200 in cash, and you lose that money.
Yeah, those centers in your brain light up because it knows
you
this
had
hurts.
that cash, now you don't have it. The cashier has it. When you use a card, any card, debit card, credit card, you don't feel any pain. You swipe, and then you leave with that card, and you leave with your groceries. And so your brain says, that didn't hurt at all. And now with our phones, I don't even have to pull out a card.
Oh, man.
I just hold my phone over it, and then the phone says, hey, why spend $100? I'll give you 75% off. Just spend $25 today. We'll worry about the other payments later. And what does that do? It causes you to be broke because you can't mentally or physically budget for all of these different payments coming out. And in your mind, you're saying, well, I'm giving myself flexibility. No, what you're giving yourself is acid reflux down the road when that thing overdraws on your account, and now you're getting dinged for $40 a time. Man. And that keeps happening.
The overdraft is going to be
Banks
so
make
real.
billions of dollars from overdraft fees.
Oh, yeah.
And Apple's genius in this because they go, well, they're not going to be mad at us. We didn't do anything wrong. It's on the banks. It's on the users.
I want to know, okay, and meanwhile, Apple is the one conducting the soft credit check.
Yes.
Right?
They want to make sure you're in good financial standing if they're going to loan you $1,000.
Oh my gosh, it's just so bad that in a second somebody can say you're in good financial standing. Just in a second. Think about this. Think about how long it would take you. For those of you who, don't really budget, you're getting on track with your money. Think how much time it takes you to sit down, you look at your expenses, you're listing everything out, and it takes time to see really what the state of your finances are.
Oh, absolutely.
But Apple knows in 3 hot minutes whether or not you can be loaned money. They're telling you, hey, we know the state of your finances. We think you can afford this. We're going to issue you this line of credit. Come on. Does that even...
I really want to love you, Apple, but you're making it difficult, and I'm doing my best Ted Lasso impression with my track jacket today, and it really... I was going to watch the new episode tonight, and I don't want to now.
Well,
Put a bad taste in my mouth.
They're jumping on that bandwagon of easy money, taking advantage of folks, taking advantage of the least of these financially...
Here's a wild idea for Apple. Maybe make a better product if you want more money. Maybe innovate a little. God, Steve Jobs is rolling around in his grave right now going, really, guys? This is what we've come to? Being the payday lender of America with Apple Pay Later? Just say no. Your wallet, your budget, your financial future will thank you for it.
Got
This
him.
is The Ramsey Show.
Buying a home is one of the biggest decisions of your life. You need a partner like Churchill Mortgage. Churchill is one of the highest rated lenders in the country, and they're Ramsey trusted because they do what's right for you. Churchill works with you to build a mortgage the Ramsey way, one that doesn't bust your budget, sets you up for financial success, and helps you get out of debt faster. Go to churchillmortgage.com today and get started.
I'm George Camel, joined by Jade Warshaw. This is The Ramsey Show. Open phones at 888-825-5225. We are headed to Boston, Massachusetts, and Chelsea is on the line. Chelsea, welcome to the show.
Hi, thanks for taking our call.
Sure. How can we help?
Well, speaking of things that you cannot afford, my husband and I bought a house in August, and we are having some buyer's remorse, and we're now wondering if we should sell our house.
Whoa. Okay. Walk us through what happened.
Well, a few months after, so we got married in August and also bought our house, and we instantly had the buyer's remorse because that was about the time we got into Dave and baby steps, and the house is definitely not what he recommends. But then I also lost my job, so that was about $100,000 pay cut. And we've been working with a financial advisor, and we've cut out everything, and we're on baby step 2, but we're barely making ends meet. And last night, we had to spend about $10,000 to save our puppy's life that we didn't plan on.
I'm so sorry.
You guys have been through it.
You. We have. It's been a rough. Our mortgage is now 52% of our total income.
Of take-home pay?
Of take-home pay, yeah.
Okay.
Wow.
And so we're debating selling our house. We think we have maybe a little bit of equity and just renting and starting fresh, but we didn't know if that was a terrible idea.
So are you working again? What's your current income?
I am. I took a job that I actually really love, but I'm making about $48,000. It's a lot of commission based, so it has the potential to make a lot more than what I was making, but it'll probably be about 6 months to a year before I really start seeing those commission checks.
Okay. And what's your husband's income?
We own a gym, so he brings home. It's different since it's self-employed, but probably around $100,000.
Okay. So let's say $150,000 household income before taxes.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. What other debt do you have?
We have $125,000 in debt. Most of it is student loans. We have one car. We sold our other car. We now have the $10,000 that we had to put on a credit card for the dog. And then we have a couple other credit cards. It totals about $6,000.
Okay. Now, I'm assuming with this mortgage payment, you guys don't have a lot of wiggle room at the end of each month to even throw at the debt.
No. Nope. We've cut out everything that we can. Excuse me. We've cut out completely everything that we can. So we use every dollar, and when we do our budget, we're about negative 100 every month, and we've just kind of lucked out.
And that's with you guys really dialing in the budget.
Yep.
But just between the debt payments, the mortgage, and paying just straight up bills. I mean, you're not doing any frivolous spending, it sounds like. You played that game.
We're not. We have no frivolous spending. We've started using cash to buy our groceries.
Do you guys have any savings in the bank or anything you could sell?
Other than we're upside down in the car that we do have, which is why we didn't sell it yet. We had $1,000 savings that is now gone as of last night, and no other savings. What's
your home worth? Like, what'd you pay for it, and what's it worth?
We paid $769,000, and it's a new development neighborhood, and 2 other houses in the neighborhood recently. One recently sold, and one is currently on the market, and those sold for about $850 to $915. Okay. So.
And you said you have a little bit of equity.
We only put down. I think we put down 5% because it was my first home purchase, and we did a 30-year mortgage. So we owe $750, and we're thinking we can maybe sell it for $850.
Okay, so you might net a little bit of cash that would help you start attacking this debt, but it's not like a silver bullet.
Nope.
Because now we got to pay rent, and we still have probably $75,000 worth of debt to tackle.
Yes.
Have you priced out some of the rents in your area compared with what you're paying now?
We did that right before we called you. We could probably rent something for about $3,000. So that would save us about $2,200 a month.
So your mortgage payment is $5,200 a month on a 30-year?
Yes.
Oof.
Man, I got to tell you, Chelsea, I hate telling folks to get out of their house, George.
And that's a big move. I actually rarely tell people to sell the house, but this is one of those situations where I wouldn't be able to breathe if I were you.
She can't breathe.
We can't.
You can't breathe. I mean, like, you've cut down your budget to nothing. It's a skeleton. You're both working. And I know there's probably some months where the gym is doing better than others, but you don't know that. And you're on commission. And here's the thing. When you're in debt and you're working, it changes the way you work. You've just got that crazed mentality. So it's probably not doing anything to help you in your job right now. Do you know what I'm saying? Am I right?
Yeah.
You know,
you don't want to be a desperate salesman.
You don't want to be a desperate salesman. I hate to say it, but something tells me the moment that you break free of this, you're going to exhale and you're going to be like, oh, thank God we can breathe again.
I would at least start the process. Reach out to a realtor. We have some great Ramsey trusted real estate pros you can connect with at RamseySolutions.com. And to start the process, see what the market's actually doing, how much you could get for the house. And while you're doing that, I'm going to start working my tail off to see if we can get some traction and maybe have an ultimatum and say, hey, if things aren't in a much better place 3 or 6 months from now where we can see the light at the end of the tunnel, we got to sell this house. Yeah. This is the monkey on our back. It's killing us.
Okay.
And here's another reason beyond the money. You guys are newlyweds. You're starting out life. You don't want to start out life. There's enough stuff that you're learning being newly married, right? You don't want this pile of debt just making matters worse or making matters stressful. Like, that first year of marriage is tough enough. Can I get an amen, George?
Amen.
Is it just me? Okay. I'm just saying, I just think in the long haul, it's going to serve you better, and you'll have a home that's a blessing and not a burden.
And most of the time people have done this, they look back and go, that was the right move. Rarely do they go, oh my gosh, if we wouldn't have sold our house, it could have been this much. No one's thinking about appreciation. All you're trying to do is survive in this state. And so it really does, it will speed up this process of helping you guys become debt-free much faster. And then when you go back to buy a house the right way, it's going to be a blessing in your life instead of a curse.
That's right.
When you save up 10 to 20% with no payments in the world, and probably more because it's, freaking Boston and homes that are crazy expensive.
Yeah.
And
They're
so
crazy.
It may be another 5 years before you guys are homeowners, and that's okay.
That's all right.
But don't believe the lies that everyone needs to jump into home ownership. It sounds like you had some pressures in your life where like, hey, you're married now. You got to get a home. What are you doing wasting money on rent? Was that the narrative?
It was more like it was just, like I said, it was right before we got into Dave, and we had justified it as we were paying separately before we were living together about $8,000 in rent. His was $3,000, mine was $5,000. So this was saving money in our minds.
$5,000 for rent?
Wow.
Yeah, Boston. I do have a question because I've heard that, I guess someone told me once that if you sell your house before 2 years, you get some kind of fees for that. Is that?
You will have capital gains. Yes.
Okay.
15%, right, George?
It depends on your incomes. I'm guessing with your incomes, it would probably be, it may count kind of just extra income at that point. If it's because it's been under a year.
Yeah. If your income is. It looks like if your taxable income is more than between $41,000 and $459,000. Okay. 15%.
So I would also look into the tax implications. It may just be a net wash, and that's okay. We're not selling this house to make a giant profit. We're doing it to get out from under this giant payment. And like you said, it's going to free up $2,200 a month. Plus, that's barring nothing else goes wrong with the house. I mean, what happens if the HVAC goes out tomorrow?
Right. And
well, luckily it's a new construction, so you
have a 1-year warranty
in that way. But yeah, we do.
Well, while we're talking about fees or things that might come up, I gotta say this right quick. I gotta talk about this dog right quick because when it comes to these vet bills, and you just got through something where you spent $10,000, you need to put a cap on that. Because if Rover is still not doing so well and something pops up later, you've got to have a cap on what you're going to spend on this. You can't continue to go into debt for a pet. I'm sorry, but you can't do it.
Sometimes it feels like dog ownership is more expensive than home ownership.
I know. I just lost a lot of friends on that.
She's just telling it like it is. Well, we are rooting for you, Chelsea. Thanks for the call. This is The Ramsey Show. Welcome back to The Ramsey Show. I'm George Campbell, joined by Jade Warshaw. All right, let's clear something up. If you listen to the show for 10 seconds, you'll find out we are not a fan of debt. In fact, we hate it. And some people, they don't get that. They think you need debt and you need credit cards to build your credit because you need a good credit score to buy a house, right? Wrong. That's a myth. The truth is, if you're living a debt-free lifestyle, eventually you won't have any credit score, and you got to find a good lender like our friends at Churchill Mortgage who can do something called manual underwriting with a no-score loan. That's where they personally review your financial history to approve you for a mortgage. Very old-timey. And this way you can avoid the credit score game altogether. I have done this, Jade Warshaw has done this, and so we can tell you from personal experience, you don't get a vote. Your opinion doesn't count here. It's something that people can do. People do it all the time. So this might sound crazy, but the best plan for your future is to avoid debt, save a big down payment, and get a real estate agent who will help you find a house you can actually afford. And we recommend agents who are Ramsey trusted, meaning they're top performers with years of experience helping people like you do home buying the right way. None of this is impossible. You can buy a house without a credit score. You can find a house that will be a blessing, not a financial burden. And you can find a real estate agent who will help you do all of that by going to RamseySolutions.com/agent. That's RamseySolutions.com/agent. All right, let's head to the phones. Lexi joins us up next in Phoenix. Lexi, welcome to The Ramsey Show. How you doing?
Good. How are you guys?
Doing great. How can we help?
I'm just looking for an opinion on how much we should be spending on a minivan.
Oh, fun.
We always kind of go as cheap as possible with our cars, and we had a salvage title one for a while, and it bit the dust a few days ago.
Oof.
So we're trying to decide if it's a good time to spend like $30,000 on one with low mileage that we'll just drive until that dies as long as possible, or if we should stick to closer to $10,000 and buy one with higher mileage, because we're hoping to buy a house within the next year.
Do you have any money set aside for something like this aside from your?
Yeah, we do. We sold our house, our townhouse recently, and we're just renting for a year. So we have about $250 set aside for a down payment on top of our 6 months emergency savings.
Awesome. And no debt, I'm assuming.
No debt, none at all. We're like, we should do our debt-free scream, but we're about to buy a house.
Congrats. So you have $250, and you would dip into that to pay for the car.
Yeah, and so we're just deciding how much of that to dip into.
Ooh, I'd try to keep it as low as possible because I'd want to make sure I have as much of that nest egg going into that home purchase.
Yeah, what's your household income?
Yearly, we're about $90,000.
Okay. Because what I'm wondering is if you did dip in, let's say for the 30, that takes that account down to 220, then how much would you need to put down for the house, and would it get you there within your timeline?
Yeah, the houses are about $450 here where we want to buy, and for about the level of house that we need.
Okay.
So it's like we can afford it even without such a big down payment, but we want to have it paid off as soon as possible.
Well, making 90 and having a $200,000 home loan on a 15-year, that's going to add up as part of your take-home pay. So my goal would be for you guys to do a 15-year fixed where the payment's no more than a quarter of your take-home pay, and that will help dictate how much down payment you need. And if it means we got to wait another 6 months because we got a minivan, then it takes another 6 months. But I wouldn't shortcut that process.
That's a good point, George. Yeah. Making sure you're doing the math on both sides of it, making not just planning for the car, but also making sure that you're able to get the mortgage that you want the best possible way. Now,
when it comes to a minivan, it's so dependent on the brand and where you're getting this car from and the condition of it. And so do you have a specific one in mind?
Yeah, we do. It's the same one that we had, just a newer, we just need a newer version, and preferably one without a salvage title this time.
Yeah,
we ran into so many problems.
What is it?
Basically, it's a Chrysler Pacifica.
Oh, yeah. I've had some of those as a rental car. Those things are sweet.
Yeah.
I'm not going to lie.
If you say so, George.
Like everyone that hates on minivans, next time you're getting a rental and you step into one of those things, it's luxury.
It's a sweet ride.
Yeah, with little kids, it's our only option. It's the only thing we even want.
Yeah. So I would say get the van that you want, knowing that it might set back your home savings goals by a little bit.
Ooh, that's tough.
And so that might mean we go for a $20,000 because, man, it's going to losing the extra 10 to go for the 30. And minivans are just expensive. Yeah. The car market's still crazy. So
that's
if you
true.
go for the 10,000, you might have some repairs closer down the road.
That is true. I feel like I'd go the opposite route, though.
You go as cheap as possible?
Well, not as cheap as possible. And mind you, this is not right or wrong what I'm saying. I would start with the house. And I would say, okay, if I do my calculations, how much money must I have to get this house? And then with whatever's left, that would kind of be my van budget.
I see.
Because I wouldn't really want to sacrifice waiting on the house for the van.
Yeah. I'm in a weird boat where I go, how do I create extra income to where this doesn't hold us back?
Facts, though. I love that.
So that's a cool goal to have, too. And that's something we did was go, all right, I'm going to get the 30,000 van, but I'm going to make up the difference with side hustles. And I'm willing to
work it out.
So either way, there's sacrifice. And so it's just depending where you're going to do that, how you're going to do that, when you're going to do that.
True
but
that.
You guys have done an incredible job.
Yes.
I'm so proud of you.
What I love about these conversations is we're talking about options, which is a great thing when you're handling your money right, you're walking through these steps, you're doing the right thing. Then we're talking about what's better, this or that. There's not really a quote unquote wrong answer here. It's just like, how do we want to get there faster? Is it this or that? And I love those conversations. It just proves that you're doing things the right way. So very cool.
I love options, plural. Most people that call into the show when they're in a bind, it's just option. And they think, well, this is the only option. I got to go take out the HELOC. And we go, no. How did you back yourself into this corner? You've got options. But when you're debt free and you got a pile of money in the bank, it changes.
It's fun to have the conversation.
The way you live your life. Love it. Thanks for the call. All right, let's go to Mila in Portland, Oregon. Mila, welcome to the show.
Hi, thank you for taking my call.
Sure. What's going on?
I have a question about a budget. I finally talked my husband into sitting down last night and going over a budget with me together because I've been talking to him for about a year. And he's like, yeah, do whatever you want. And I'm like, no, I want to do this together. So we sat down yesterday, and some of his responses, it was kind of shocking. He wants to put away $1,000 from each check we get. Like, we get paid twice, each of us. So that's $4,000 a month he wants to put away. And to me, I don't know. I'm just calling to find out, is that reasonable?
Well, there's so many more questions. How much are you guys bringing home, and what's the goal of saving this money?
So he kind of got lit up because he wants to buy property. He wants to buy a house or land to build on. And we're bringing home anywhere from $8,000 to $10,000 cash, or like.
Is that your take-home pay?
Take home, yeah.
Okay,
that's great.
So it leaves you with what, 4 to 6?
Yeah, I calculated we spent about $3,000 on like bare bones.
Okay.
And so that's almost half of our income he wants to save into a money market account or high yield savings account. Sorry.
Do you guys have any debt?
No.
No debt?
We actually are. No, we're really frugal people. We don't spend a lot of money already. And so for him to say that, I was like, ooh, we don't.
And you have an emergency fund?
Yes, we do have money in the bank. We have about, $50,000 maybe.
That's great.
Awesome.
And
so that's way more than 6. You said your bare bones are 3 months. So even 6 months of expenses is $18,000.
Yeah.
So let's call it 20, right?
Okay.
$20,000 for your emergency fund. You have $30,000 liquid cash. You can do what you want. And you're saying he wants to save an extra $48,000 a year to buy a house.
Yep, $48,000 a year.
Is this a house for you, or is this a house for, like, I'm investing in real estate?
No, he wants to, we have a smaller property, a very small home, and so he wants to have more land around the house, so maybe buying a house with a little more land on it.
So do you got your homeowners right now? Do you have a mortgage?
Yes. Yes, it's a very low mortgage.
What's left on it?
$80,000.
80. Okay, how about this for a cool goal? Let's pay off the mortgage first. You're building the equity. It's a forced savings plan. And as soon as we have that paid off, we can start stacking up that cash. But I think it's a wise goal. As long as you're investing 15% into retirement, the rest, the world's your oyster. But be on the same plan. If you want to do 3, and here's why, have a why when you come to the conversation.
Yeah, I like that.
Versus, I think it's a great muscle to build, that savings muscle. It will serve you well as a couple. Thanks for the call, Mila. That puts this hour of The Ramsey Show in the books. My thanks to Jade Warshaw, all the folks in the booth, and you, America. Thanks for listening. We'll be back soon.
Hey, what's up, guys? It's Jade. Look, if you like what you heard in this episode and want to know more about getting started on the Ramsey baby steps, go to RamseySolutions.com and click the Get Started button. We'll help you figure out the best next step for you based on your specific situation. That's RamseySolutions.com and click Get Started.
Live from the headquarters of Ramsey Solutions, broadcasting from the Pod's Moving and Storage Studio, it's The Ramsey Show, where we help people build wealth, do work they love, and create amazing relationships. I'm George Camel, joined this hour by my fellow Ramsey personality, Jade Warshaw. And we're taking your calls at 888-825-5225. You jump in, we'll talk about your life and your money. And I know we got a lot of new listeners coming into the show. We're so glad you're here. And if you're wondering, you want to dive deeper into all this lingo we're throwing out there, baby steps, 3B, 5, 6, you can go to RamseySolutions.com and click on the Get Started button, and we will help you figure out the next best step for you in your financial journey based on where you're at today. That's RamseySolutions.com and click on the Get Started button. All right, Jack is kicking us off this hour in Austin, Texas. Jack, welcome to the show.
Hey, how you doing, folks?
Doing great. How are you?
I'm good. Thanks for asking. I'm in credit card debt, and I'll just give you the numbers to start off with. We could say $26,000 in combined credit card debt across 5 credit cards. In addition to that, I also owe $12,000 on my car that I'm still paying. So $38,000. It looks like we're in total. I can tell you my monthly expenses right now if you're interested.
What's the total expenses per month?
Total expenses per month is $1,400 approximate.
All right. What's your take-home pay?
Take-home pay, I can do about $2,500 per month for a total of $30K per year.
Okay. That's your take-home. So you're making about, $45K?
I'm sorry again. Can you repeat that?
Are you making about $45,000 gross?
No. I think my gross is the $30K. Right now, I'm doing delivery with DoorDash and Uber Eats.
Okay.
So everything I'm getting is just I'm cashing out. It's
you're having to pay taxes on that down the road.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Got it.
And what's your question today?
Well, what I want to know is mostly just trying to focus on the credit card debt. 3 of those credit lines have already been charged off. 2 of them are still active, but with the impending loom that they're going to be charged off. The highest one is around $9,000. The lower one is around $2,200. What I want to know, because I have about $8,900 in my Roth 401k with Schwab, is if I should pull that to curb this debt specifically for these active accounts so that they don't become charged off, because I want to avoid as many charged off accounts as I can possible. And then even further than that, bankruptcy. Because if it's just a matter of if I have to pay taxes now, fees next tax season, and it's like, okay, I'm paying money, perhaps I'd rather do that than have this be on my report for next 7 years. That's my mindset. So, with that.
You're breaking up, Austin, a little bit, Jack. Make sure to speak directly into your phone. Okay. So we hear you. I don't think bankruptcy is in your near future.
Me either.
This is not that kind of situation. Very rarely would I say, hey, that might be the best option for you. It's not even on the table.
I agree. You're far from it.
Okay.
And the reason I say that is because there's so far for you to go on your income that it's not like you're, at the top of your income and you've got this crazy debt and your back is against a wall, you have actually a wide open field in front of you. You've just got to start running.
Right.
You know, how old are you?
28.
All right. So you're doing a lot of door dashing and things like that. What's the long-term plan career-wise?
Not to be doing this. I was let go of my last job in June of 2022. So that's the reason why I'm doing this. But for long term, I can't say exactly what I do want to do, but I do expect to be making minimum within the range of like 35 to maybe 50K just with my experience so far. But it definitely,
what kind of work is this?
On delivery.
What were you doing?
Prior, I was doing just like an advisor for a video game company with their accounts. And then whichever way I could branch up from there. So I did get some testing experience. So if I could go into testing for companies, that's the experience I also have as well.
Can I ask a question? So you said you got let go June of 2022. I'm going to kick your butt a little bit. What's taken so long to bounce back here?
Purely, it's part of the problem that I've got myself into this predicament for the last 4 years anyways. I'm just now at the point where I want to put action to it. I've acknowledged that I've had it, but it's just pure laziness. That's all it is.
Are you living alone?
Well, I'm renting a room from somebody, but yeah, I only account for myself. No other dependents, no spouse, no SO, nothing, just myself.
Okay. Well, there's only one way out of this, and it's you getting your butt in gear and making more money and selling stuff, and maybe even the car. I mean, that would clear some debt. What's the car worth?
If I'm just going off of the Carfax email I get monthly, I think it's around 18K. It's worth.
And you owe 12.
Yeah.
So you net 6, and you can go buy a car for 6, and it clears your car payment, which is how much?
$408 a month for 12K remaining.
Could you pay off some credit cards if you had an extra $400 or $500 a month? That was rhetorical. The answer is yes.
It's yes.
Yeah. Yeah, sure.
I'm selling that car today, and then I'm attacking whatever profit I can make after I buy a beater car. I'm going to use to attack that smallest credit card debt.
Jack, okay. I'm gonna use the words of Dave Ramsey here. You can wander into debt, but you can't wander out of it. And you've been wandering in the wilderness here for several months, and you got to get your butt in gear, dude. You got to start running out of this, and you can. Your income, man, you've got nowhere to go but up. There's a really beautiful place about being at the bottom. The only way to go is up, and you're right there. The world is your oyster. You can go out there and make money. Don't sit around and wait for your dream job. Get a job that makes anything more than what you're making now and take it. Tell yourself, hey, this is just temporary. It's means to an end. But by all means, keep going forward. Keep making sure that every step you take is getting you a little bit closer to where it is that you want to be. But do not stay right here. Do not stay at $2,500 per month. Don't do it. Keep pushing until you it's $38,000. It's a lot of debt, but it's not that much debt, right?
And we're about to clear 12 of it. Let me remind you.
We're going to clear it.
That car is gone, dude. What kind of car is it?
2018 Camry SE.
We're going to get you a 28 Camry SE down the line when we're not broke. It'll come back.
There you go.
But right now, let's clear this up. Let's go get a retail job that pays $18 an hour. Boom, you just got a raise. And then on top of that, let's go wait tables at night. You're a single guy. This is the time of your life to do those kind of sacrifices.
What were you making back in June before you got let go?
$15.75 per hour. I think I was making just shy of $2K per month, bringing home. That's after contributions.
And that's working for the video game company.
That's correct.
I think we got to set our sights higher.
Oh yeah, let's shoot.
You can
for
work
the
in
stars.
video games, but we're not doing it for what we could make working at our local hardware store.
All right, yeah.
So set a real big goal of where you want to be 5 years from now. But in the next year, let's get rid of this debt. Let's get the IRS off our back, pay your taxes, make quarterly estimated payments, and call us back when you're debt free, man. This is The Ramsey Show.
We've been doing business at Ramsey for more than 30 years. By now, we're a well-oiled machine, but it wasn't always that way. Yes, we've always had a vision, always had determination, and a drive to help people. But what we didn't have was one central place to access all our numbers so that we could get further ahead or quickly see when we needed to pivot. We were always jumping back and forth between different systems and spreadsheets. So when NetSuite by Oracle helped us wrangle our revenue, inventory, expenses, and more into one place, it was a game changer. And NetSuite's #1 cloud financial system can help your business gain the same visibility, because businesses thrive on timely data. And NetSuite's real-time analytics can help your business have immediate access to your numbers daily, so you always know where you stand and you can move quickly. So go to netsuite.com/Ramsey today and set up a free product tour. That's netsuite.com/Ramsey.
This is The Ramsey Show. I'm George Campbell, joined this hour by Jade Warshaw. We're taking your calls at 888-825-5225. Well, a lot of you have questions about taxes, and it's that time of year. We get it. Taxes are confusing. Nobody wants to talk about it, but we're willing to be brave and do that. And so I wanted to unpack a question from one of our listeners. Here's what they asked. I'm really nervous about trying to do our taxes ourselves, but it's almost $300 to get them done with a tax pro. What should I do? This is a common conundrum people have. So here's how we look at it. If you think your tax situation is pretty simple, you can definitely try using tax software. We've got one called Ramsey Smart Tax that will guide you through the online filing process step by step. Anyone can do it. It's super simple. We walk you through it. And you don't pay until you file, so you actually have a chance to figure out if it's right for you, if you just want to go check it out. Plus, the federal classic version of Ramsey Smart Tax comes with built-in support. There's also a premium version that gives you priority level support for all of your questions. And if you still feel uncomfortable filing taxes on your own, it's worth it. It's worth the money. You can connect with a tax pro that makes it all really easy. And if your situation's complicated, you've got properties and all kinds of jobs and side hustles and you're self-employed, you better be working with a tax pro.
You know what I'm doing, George? I'm going to get a sinking fund and I'm going to put a little bit aside.
I've got that line item.
You know?
It makes me feel better.
Because your girl is not going. I'm not doing my own taxes. It just gives me a headache.
It's the same reason I pay someone to mow my lawn. Could I do it myself?
Yes.
That's debatable. But you know what? I'm buying my time and sanity back is what I'm doing. Now, some people, our friend Ken Coleman, he loves to get out there in his New Balances and just go to town on that lawn.
Does he take his shirt off?
I hope not. God bless his neighbors. Guys.
Sorry, Ken.
He's like an extra from Twilight when he's got his shirt off. All right. Well, I don't know how we come back from that, but here's the deal. We've got a hub for all of you with resources, links to everything I mentioned at RamseySolutions.com/tax. If you want to learn more about Ramsey Smart Tax or get connected with a Ramsey Trusted Tax Pro, like one of our endorsed local providers. Again, RamseySolutions.com/tax. Jade's still losing it over here. Look, you brought it up.
I'm trying to be quiet over here.
She's playing it cool.
You just painted such a clear. The Twilight is what it was. The Twilight for me.
Vivid. All right, let's go to the phones. Christian joins us in Los Angeles, California. Christian, welcome to the show.
Hi, thank you for having me.
Sure. How can we help?
So I'm 20 years old, and when I graduated high school, my dad said that he was going to buy me a car based off an arrangement that we had, but he ended up leasing a car for me, a 3-year lease. The lease ends in May, and he agreed to pay half of the remaining balance, which is $15,000.
That's generous.
And I was wondering if it still made sense for me to pay $7,500 to have a relatively new car, even with the craziness of life and becoming an adult coming up and how expensive that is.
How old are you?
20.
Okay. And you have the money to do this?
Yeah, I do.
Oh,
that's good. And so it's $15,000 for the buyout at the end of the lease. Dad's going to pay $7,500. You pay $7,500.
Correct.
I think it's a no-brainer.
I'm not mad at that.
And here's why. We hate leases with an undying, burning passion, but the dumbest part of those decisions is over. You've already paid for the depreciation.
Or Dad did.
And so now you getting $7,500 and trying to buy a car, you're going to have a hard time doing that versus getting the car that you already have.
Yeah, that makes sense. I was just wondering because I'm pretty sure I could get him to give me the $7,500 instead of it just disappearing if I decided not to buy it out. And so the car's worth probably around like $21,000. And so
here's what, either way, why not buy the car? He puts in $7,500. You now own the car free and clear. You can go sell that car for $21,000.
Okay.
And that puts $21,000 in your pocket to buy whatever car you want.
Yeah, it's just a hard pill to swallow, especially being so young and knowing that, like, I graduate college in December and I want to get married next year and all this other stuff. And that's just a large chunk of money to have gone.
What's your other option then? What do you want to do?
I don't know, buy a beater car for like $5,000.
You can do that, but I would still, because of this transaction and what the car is worth, pay for the car. You put in $7,500. Dad puts in $7,500. That's $15,000. You sell it for $21,000. You now have $21,000. You take $6,000 of that, leaving you with $15,000 left in savings.
Oh, okay. I understand.
Do you see the math? Do you see what he's doing there for you?
So you're still better off going through this I know it's a lot of hoops to jump through, but you're going to end up, netting $6,000 more than if you just took the $7,500 from Dad.
So you're spending some money up front to make some money down the line.
Got it. Okay.
But I'm with you. I just wish every 21-year-old was forced to have a beater car.
I know, right?
I know I'm old school. I don't think young kids should be driving nice cars. And it's not just because I was jealous driving my beater Honda Civic while these 16-year-olds are driving brand new Jeep Wranglers. I'm like, what? You're going to wreck that thing, and then you're going to get a new car. And it creates entitlement to where that's now the worst car you ever drive in your life.
That's true.
I think you should always upgrade.
It depends on the kid.
I know.
You should always upgrade, George. You're right about that. Like, nobody needs...
But, Christian, you know what you need to do, man.
Yeah.
Proud of you for not feeling like you deserve a $21,000 car.
That's what I'm talking about.
But I like it. All right. We did what we needed to do there. Nick joins us up next in D.C. Nick, welcome to The Ramsey Show.
Hi. Thanks so much for having me.
Absolutely. What's going on?
So my question is basically I feel stuck between either baby step 3B or if I'm on baby step 7.
Ooh.
I like that question.
And why is that?
So I'm 26. I live in D.C. I'm debt-free, have my emergency fund. I'm single, no kids, all that good stuff. And I'm working my job and I'm able to save about half my income, which is pretty good. But I'm also renting with a couple housemates, and I just feel kind of stuck because I can't afford to buy a house out here, even with like a 20% down payment and all that kind of stuff. So I don't really know kind of where to go from here.
Where do you want to go? What's the goal? You want to be a homeowner in D.C.?
I've been asking myself that a while. I do want to be a homeowner eventually, but probably not for the next few years. Probably like, I see that as maybe something like 4 or 5 years away, which is also kind of complicating how I should save for a down payment for a house eventually, because typically from what I've heard from listening to your guys' shows, like you usually don't recommend investing in, mutual funds and things like that if it's shorter than a 5 losing the money. So I don't know if I should just keep piling up money in the bank and get like the, measly 2% on it or what?
I would, because here's the thing. You said the time is going to pass regardless, right? Those 3 to 4, 4 to 5 years are going to pass regardless. And, no, you're not going to have enough money in a year and maybe not even 2 years. But if you're piling up that money, there is going to come a time where suddenly you have enough money. And some of these high yield savings accounts are getting more than 3%. Some of them I'm seen
getting over 4 right now.
Yeah. Some of them are pretty decent. And when it comes to that rule of not investing the money unless it's over, past a 5-year term. There's actually been some study done on that of how likely you are to make money off of that return after 5 years, and it drops decidedly after from 3 years even to 5 years. So that's why we say that, because there's still even a risk if you were to leave it for 5 years. It's just considerably less. So it's up to you. I mean, only you know your long-term goals. If you're like, hey man, I'm renting, I'm enjoying this, I'm happy to just keep plugging money, putting it aside for baby step 3B. If you were to jump to baby step 7, what would that look like for you? Is that you saying, I would rather do something like real estate? Like, what are you, as an investment, like, what does that mean for you?
If I were to jump to baby step 7, I'd still be renting, but I'd probably just, I don't know, probably just like kind of go on more vacations, I guess. That's kind of part of the quandary of where I'm at.
I think we find some balance for now, Nick. I want you to live your life and not just, devote your life to a down payment. Live your life, but also have an aggressive down payment savings goal. And maybe it's a condo. Maybe you move from DC to make this more affordable, but don't wait 10 years and don't jump into anything a year from now. Let's set a reasonable goal and work towards that. This is The Ramsey Show.
What makes our show unique is that we genuinely care about our listeners. We're intentional about choosing the best advertisers to recommend. Blinds.com is no exception. They offer high-quality window treatments at unbelievable prices, and they make it simple to shop blinds, shades, and interior shutters with easy online ordering, free shipping, and a guaranteed perfect fit. Go to Blinds.com and take advantage of this week's special savings.
Welcome back to The Ramsey Show. I'm George Campbell, joined by Jade Warshaw this hour. Open phones at 888-825-5225. It's time for our question of the day, which is brought to you by Neighborly, your hub for home services. When you need to make repairs, schedule routine maintenance, or find local help for home improvement projects, Neighborly is your source for reliable home service providers in your area. Just go to neighborly.com and start your search.
All right. Today's question comes from Camber in the Baby Steps Facebook group. She says, when you have a company match, does that count towards your 15%? My husband's work has a 3% match. We invest 3% of his gross into our RSP, which is a Canadian equivalent to a 401k, and the employer contributes 3%. Would you say that this is 3%, or would you combine it to make it a 6% contribution towards our 15%? That's a really good question. And we hear this a lot, George, because a lot of companies do offer a match, which is a great thing. However, we really just kind of see that as, icing on the cake per se. We actually don't count that towards the 15%.
It's really gravy for the Canadians. They're putting it on the fries.
It's poutine. Yes,
there
poutine for the fries.
That's
there
gravy
we go.
on the fries. Just want to make sure the Canadians get it.
I love it. Thanks, George. Appreciate that. That's such a good
Always
thing.
thinking about you. So baby step 4 in our Ramsey Baby Steps, invest 15% of your household income into retirement, which means your money, not your employer's money.
Off the gross.
Off the gross. And so there's good reasons for this. Number one, we don't know what your employer's going to do this year, next year, but we know what you're going to do. Invest 15% of your income into retirement. That will cause you to be wealthy regardless of if you have an employer match or not.
That's
and
right.
I don't know about you, but I would want more in retirement rather than less.
Heck yeah.
And so if it's 15 with the employer match, but 18 if you did the 15 on your own, I'm doing 15 on my own.
I know, right?
And some of these matches, it takes time to vest.
That's true.
And so I don't want you tied to your job because now you're beholden to the match and getting this money because you were counting on it as part of your 15%.
Yeah, that's a really, really good point. Yeah, I just like the idea of building that muscle of contributing 15% regardless. And in the end, like we said, it's gravy on the biscuit, gravy on the fries.
And if you had a 6% match, but then you moved jobs and all of a sudden there was no match, now you don't know how to, you can't budget for that. You're not used to that. So I like just being used to setting that savings on autopilot. It comes out of my income before it ever hits my bank account.
That's
here
right.
at Ramsey with our 401k. And I love that because now I just learned how to live on less.
I love
and
that.
I flex that muscle.
Set it and forget it.
Ron Popeil. Was that the rotisserie chicken reference?
That's it. Of course
Jade
you would
gets
know
it.
that, George.
She's a real one. All right, let's go to the phones. Lynn joins us in San Jose, California. Lynn, welcome to the show.
Hi. Thank you, Jade and George, for taking my call.
Absolutely.
And like many listeners, I wish I had started listening to you years ago.
Hey, me too.
But I know. Anyways, here's the situation. Well, the question is, what, if anything, can I do to use what money I have to make more? And here's my situation. I have no debt, own the house. I'm 73, retired. But my car is 16 years old. My water heater is 14 years old. My refrigerator is 17 years old. I need a new stove. My house needs repairs and a new roof.
That's a long list.
I know. It is a long list, isn't it? And I'm just very stuck as to what to do and nervous about my income. I only, make income, just Social Security and a little bit of a pension, $31,000 a year.
Now, you said you have no payments, including you don't have a mortgage.
No mortgage.
Do you have any money in savings currently?
I have about $143,000 in savings.
And that's pretty much all the money you have to your name, outside of this pension coming in, Social Security coming in.
Yeah, I have on hand cash, $50,000. And, $20,000 in checking. And that's it.
And that's on top of the 143?
Yes.
Okay, great. So we have over 200,000 in liquid cash.
Yeah. Hey, good job on being debt-free. Good job on having that mortgage paid off. You've got 3 to 6 months of savings. You've done a good job. It just sounds like your nest egg, your retirement egg, isn't what you wanted it to be, for you to easily handle, some of these appliances and just like that upkeep of life, right?
Yep, exactly.
You plan on being in this home for the foreseeable future?
Well, here's the glitch. I live in an area that is outrageously priced. I cannot afford to relocate in this area. Besides that, I have a daughter who lives on the property. She works full time, but she's not a high wage earner and cannot afford to live on her own. So
you would put her in a bind if you chose to move.
Yes, exactly. And and this is not a house I want to stay in because it's just high maintenance.
What could you sell the house for?
Challenging. Because of our area, probably roughly close to $650,000.
Wow.
That could set you up for retirement.
Yeah, that would set you up for retirement.
If I moved to Arizona or Tennessee,
well, I'm wondering what's keeping you there other than your daughter. What if daughter moves with you and you guys live in the same area?
Or what if you let daughter be daughter?
How old is she?
And spread her wings and fly.
Well, I just don't know where she'd live, so I feel very.
Is she physically able?
Yes.
Okay.
And like I said, she does work full time, but she's not a high wage earner.
What's a high wage earner? Because California, I don't know what a high wage in California is.
Oh, well, I don't either. But for this area, it's let's just say something to rent here goes for about $2,500 a month.
I'm calling a little bit of BS on her situation because I think that here's the thing. If you said, man, she's disabled or she's facing this challenge or she's got, I don't know, there could be a long list of things, but it sounds like she's just, you're helping her out. You're able to help prop up her lifestyle a little bit and make things a little bit easier for her. And that's probably very convenient for her. But you have a situation too, and you've got a life too. And if you want to sell your home and do something different for retirement and change your situation, I'm telling you right now, you have the freedom to do that. You don't have to prop up your daughter's life. It sounds like she's got a job if she needs to make more income. The same way you're calling in here, trying to find a way to better your situation, she can do that for her darn self. And so just be at peace with that.
Yeah, I understand that.
I'm guessing she's older.
Yeah, she's probably, now she's probably mid-40s.
Okay. And
yeah.
she's single?
Yes.
Okay. I want to help her with her career, not because I want to punish her and, if you move and she's got to figure it out, because I care about her well-being too and her financial future.
Yeah.
Because what
Yeah,
happens when
so
she
do I.
retires broke?
Yeah.
That's a problem.
Yeah.
And so right now, you're a crutch for her, not a true safety net. And so I'm not saying you have to move. I don't know that it's worth doing all these repairs. If you could sell the place for $650 and move somewhere you actually want to live and upgrade the car and live your true retirement dreams, that's what I'm doing.
Yeah, it would have been one thing if you're like, man, I love this house. I don't want to, but you said it's like, it's too much. It's all of this. So I'm
73. I don't have the chutzpah anymore.
Okay, I love the Yiddish.
I feel that.
Very good.
Well, we have two options. Either take some of this cash you have sitting around and start to do these repairs and upgrade the car, or we just sell the house, move, we keep the cash that's in the bank, and we set ourselves up for a better retirement down the line.
Mm-hmm.
Okie dokes.
So,
sounds like a plan.
Yeah, you got it, Lynn. Wishing you the best.
Yes.
Woo. That's a tough one, Jade.
It is,
Kids, parents, money, retirement.
It's tough. It's one of those things and I could feel her mom love, because you love your kids and you want to do for your kids, but sometimes when you do the most, it's actually not so great for them. It's a little bit of a failure to launch there.
Yeah, my mom did that with me in cooking. She's an amazing cook. I never lifted a finger when it came to the kitchen. And now here I am as an adult. I'm trying to learn how to cook for the first time.
What are you making, bologna sandwiches?
No, we can't even eat gluten, Jade, and processed meats. Get out of here with that.
Oh, okay, George.
But it is tough. I need some cooking lessons from Jade. So I'm waiting for you to launch your big cooking show one day.
Series.
That would be amazing. Hey, more of your calls coming up. 888-825-5225. This is The Ramsey Show. What's up, America? This is The Ramsey Show. I'm George Camel, joined by Jade Warshaw this hour. 888-825-5225 is the number to call. You jump in. We'll talk about your life and your money. Tyler joins us up next in Eugene, Oregon. Tyler, welcome to the show.
Howdy. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. How can we help?
I just recently paid off our mortgage.
Woo!
And don't
Way
have
to
any,
go.
Thanks.
Don't act so sad about it.
No, I'm nervous on these phone calls.
You're doing great. We're just excited for you.
Times, and you guys helped me through it, so I appreciate it, because I wouldn't have got debt-free without listening to you.
Right.
Well, it's an honor, man. You did the work.
But I'm lost. I don't know really what to do. I'd like to venture off and try. I have my own business, and I'd like to venture off and build that, but my wife wants to keep saving.
Oh, what does she want to keep saving for?
Well, the location we're at it's a commercial building with living in the back, and she wants to buy a house so we can just turn it full commercial and rent it out.
That's a good goal.
My shop rents the front part for the commercial aspect.
And Mama doesn't want to live in the back of the nail salon anymore. She's ready to have her own space.
Yeah.
I think that's fair.
What do you think about that, Tyler?
I think I have ADD too much. I like to do too many things, so I want to venture off and do,
What does venture off mean? It sounds so exotic. What does this mean for you?
I'd like to get a CNC machine and start making, well, they're not handmade because the CNC machine's making it, but lighting fixtures for my store. I'm an electrical contractor, so I figured, and I wanted to be a comic book artist when I grew up, so I figured that's some way to get some creativity into my boring job.
So what's this house worth, or this commercial space?
I'm still fixing up about $300 right now.
Okay. And what's the household income?
Last year I net $198.
Okay. Awesome. So $200,000, and let's hope that it does that or even better in the next year. How quickly could we save up and buy a house?
About if I don't fix the building, 2 years.
And then what's it
That's
cost to
not
fix
bad.
the building?
If I don't get extravagant, another
There we go.
40,000.
I'm guessing your wife was like, does it really need to be that fancy? And you go overboard and spend way too much money on time because you just love this stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It sounds like, okay, from what you said before about, you guys are living in the back of this commercial building, it sounds like a lot of your life has kind of revolved around
Your business.
your
and
business.
what Tyler wants.
Yes. And I, your wife is not on this call, but I'm hearing something in my spirit telling me that if you can't do both, I mean, doing both might be a good idea, but if you can focus more towards what she's maybe wanting to do this time, that could be, I'm sensing something here, Tyler. Am I off base or tell me if I'm off base?
No, she'll let me do whatever I want.
Mm-hmm.
But I want to do what's best for my kids and my wife.
Okay.
Yeah, the us.
And this house, is it attached to the commercial property?
Yeah.
So you can't just sell the house outright, but keep the commercial side.
It's right on the highway, so it's going to be, not too many people want to live on the highway.
Yeah. So your equity's kind of locked in there as long as you run this business from this space.
Correct.
Okay. So we need to save up cash elsewhere and get a home. Is this something where you would want to pay cash, or would you take on a small mortgage and pay it off quickly with this house?
Since she started listening to you and me, cash.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's a great goal. But if you were going to say, hey, it's going to take us 5 years to save up and pay cash, and she's got to live in this space for the next 5 years, I think we need a different solution.
Mm-hmm.
Either take on a small mortgage or we go rent somewhere until we have the money. But I love you guys living right now without any payments.
Yeah, it's not. Yeah, we don't want to go back to that.
Can you set a small budget to do these upgrades to the commercial space?
Yeah.
Like compromise with her and go, all right, I'm not going to go crazy. I'm going to spend, I don't know, 20 grand. Well, give me a number.
Yeah, are we talking
I could go by with 40 because I still got to fix my sign. There's quite a larger.
And what is the ROI for you doing this?
That I don't know because right now my business, I'm an electrical contractor, so I think she also wants to have it, but because it would be nice to bring people to come in because a lot of people like to come into. Yeah,
my question is, does it matter to anyone but Tyler if the lighting is cool?
Right. Is this affecting your income? Is this affecting your business? Are these needs? Are these wants? I feel like there's a couple of ways we need to sift this out, George.
That's my worry is you do this and the ROI isn't there and you don't make a dime more in your business and it set us back financially from our other goals. So that's why I want to put a cap on this.
I could put my side stuff away and just focus on my current business that's already bringing revenue in and just improve that and not venture off into anything else.
I mean, with my business hat on, that sounds like the better move. Is what's going to create more impact for the business and for our financial goals down the line.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. Yeah.
Well, whatever you do, be on board with your wife and don't make it, hey, can I do this, wife? Instead, it's, hey, what are we going to do as a couple? What are our goals? And I think once you do that, everyone's going to be happier and we can find some happy mediums. It doesn't all have to be weighted on one side or the other.
That's right. And thank her. Be like, hey, you've been on board for all these things that I wanted to do. I really appreciate that. We've got this money ahead of us. We've got some things that we can do. I want to make sure we're both being represented and we're both, getting to see through some of our goals here.
That's right.
I think that's really...
We speak French around here. All right. Let's head to Canada, home of the poutine. Jared joins us there. Jared, welcome to the show.
Hi, guys. I really appreciate you guys taking my call today.
Absolutely. How can we help?
Okay, I'm 39 years old and married with a daughter, and my wife and I are looking at building a house in the next 2 to 5 years, probably, timeline. Just was wondering what the best way to be, or what best way to save up for that? Like, do we just save up, mortgage wise, or a little lump sum anyways for it? And do we invest that, or do we just go and get a mortgage right now? But we are debt free currently right now and own our own house, and we are. I'm a little apprehensive to go back into debt again.
So you own a house outright, no payments.
That's correct.
Would you sell that house?
Yeah, once the time would come, like when it would be finished, yes, we would.
Okay. What's that house worth?
Probably around $300 right now.
Great. And what's your savings goal for this new house? On top of the $300, how much are you wanting to save up?
Well, it would be great to save up the extra $300, right? Or we're looking at probably spending
$600,
$250 to $350 in that range, kind of thing.
Okay, so the total cost of this new build is about $550 to $600,000.
Yeah, it all depends. Yeah, but probably somewhere in there, probably.
Okay,
that'll be the low end, probably. But yeah.
What's your household income?
We're it varies year to year, but it's probably in the 110 to 130 range.
Okay. And so you're saying the next 2 to 5 years we want to try to save up $200,000-$300,000 and do this with cash.
Yeah.
Or if we have to take on a small mortgage, we'll do that.
Yeah. What I'm just looking for your guys' opinion on what the best way to tackle this would be, I guess.
I mean, of course it's great. We always are like, the best way to buy a house is if you can afford to pay cash for a home, by all means, pay cash for a home. But we also understand that for some people, there's time constraints on that. You know, do you really want to save for 7 years? Maybe, or maybe you want to take a small mortgage. And we're not against you taking out, a loan for a mortgage as long as it's done the right way. Now, in your case, it's slightly different because you've tasted what it feels like to be completely mortgage debt free. And that's a tough one, but I do want to kind of put you at ease that if you were to take on a small, and I would say small, like you don't want to go back to where you started. You know what I'm saying? If you were to take on just a small percentage of that, and if that was going to shave 2 years off of your process, that could very well be worth it for you.
So the better parameter to look at is how can we get a 15-year loan where it's no more than a quarter of our take-home pay? I think once you're there, go ahead and bite the bullet because the home prices are a moving target. And my worry is you save up in 5 years from now, that house is $150,000 more than it was to build. And so I would go ahead and jump into it and pay it off aggressively. You're the type of people that will do that, and you'll be in good shape, my friend. And put that money in a high-yield savings account. I would not invest it into the stock market with that short of a time horizon. That puts this hour of The Ramsey Show in the books.
Hey, what's up, guys? It's Jade. If you love the show and want a deeper dive on your money journey, we have a weekly newsletter that gives you trending and helpful articles and tips on following the Ramsey way. Just go to RamseySolutions.com today to sign up for our newsletter. Again, that's RamseySolutions.com to sign up for our weekly newsletter.
Live from the headquarters of Ramsey Solutions, broadcasting from the Pod's Moving and Storage Studio, it's The Ramsey Show, where we help people build wealth, do work they love, and create amazing relationships. I'm Ramsey personality George Camel, joined by Jade Warshaw this hour, and the number to call is 888-825-5225. You jump in, we'll talk about your life, your money, and hopefully give you the right next step for your financial future. Natalie kicks off this hour in Charlotte, North Carolina. Natalie, welcome to the show.
Hello. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. How can we help?
Well, first of all, I'm going to just say right off the rip that my husband and I have separate finances, basically due to, on my end, there's some narcissistic tendencies over there, some emotional abuse. We've been together about 6-7 years. So we are separate there. We do have an emergency fund. We're on baby steps 4, 5, and 6. And we have some cash at home hidden and some in the bank, obviously. And so I found out after some kind of bigger fight that he's been taking from the emergency fund without me knowing. And I thought I could trust him, so I've honestly never thought to count it. And come to find out, he's been spending that as cash and keeping money in his account for himself. So I've never been so close, honestly, with that and some of the emotional abuse. I've never been so close to considering separation. I've offered counseling as an option, and that is not an option.
Why?
On his end. So
he said no to counseling?
He refuses. He refuses, yes. Doesn't believe in it. So now I'm kind of to the point, he's written me this long letter and talked to me about it, but I'm kind of in a pinch of, can I get someone like that to ever change? Or basically, do I just kind of accept things as they are? He's admitted to everything after I had to find out. He likes to lie, but I find stuff out, and then he admits to it then and agrees that I'm wrong. He hasn't blown up since, but I'm kind of in this spot where I don't know if I should give up the hope that he's going to change or...
Not that it makes it any better or any worse, but how much money are we talking about?
$5,000.
And this was sitting in the emergency fund in the bank?
This was at home.
So this was
a part of our
he used $5,000 in cash without you knowing?
Correct.
And what did he use that money on?
Apparently just daily expenses.
No,
But, yeah, exactly.
What did he use the money on?
I'm having...
What do you think he used the money on?
Personal, I guess, habits.
Bad habits.
Is there addiction?
Yeah.
Drugs,
marijuana.
gambling? Okay.
Some drugs.
Marijuana.
Okay. Hey, I'm sorry that this is happening. This sucks. It's really hard when, marriage is two folks involved, and it's really, really hard when one of the people is trying and offering counseling and, hey, let's work together, and the other person is like, I'm out, like they've tapped out. And I hate that it sounds like to me like he's tapped out. Like if you're not willing to do counseling, you're not willing to, he's got to take a step forward. I mean, it sounds like you're taking 10 steps forward and he's kind of taking one step back, going away from you. And I hate that that's happening. In these situations, I'm always like, okay, let's get in counseling, or let's get in, let's find a good church community and get around some folks who can encourage us and help us out. But it kind of sounds like he's just said no to all that. Is he depressed?
And that's the thing. And he told me that he has been struggling with depression for the past couple years. And I've tried to talk to him about that before because his dad brought it up to me, and he is not an emotional person, so he won't talk to me about it. Mm-hmm. So, yep, and that's kind of where that, and we have little kids together. I don't know where to go.
How many kids you have?
3.
Oh, gosh.
Is he willing to get medical help? See a psychologist, a psychiatrist? What is he willing to do at this point?
No church, no counseling. Basically, marijuana is his way he handles life.
That's his vice.
Do you have community, Natalie? Are there folks around you? Do you have family, friends, a church? Do you have people that you can lean on and really count on?
I do, and I have some friends that I can count on. The thing is, people have been around since the beginning, and they are a little biased at this point.
Yeah.
So
I'm gonna take a page out of John's book. I have no therapy background, no degree background, nothing like that. This is just Jade Warshaw talking, and we're talking as buddies right now. You're not in a safe environment. You've got somebody who's using drugs regularly. You can't trust them. They're gaslighting you, and you've got kids involved. And for me, that's it. Sam, this is not Sam Warshaw, but if I found myself in this situation with Sam Warshaw, I'd be hitting the road. I'd be getting out of that situation. I'm not saying that means you're getting a divorce right away, but I am getting out of that house, and I am getting my kids to a place that is safe, that there's no drug use involved, that there is no, my guess is there's probably some other bad habits at play here as well, and into a physically safe and mentally safe environment. And I'm glad that you've got some folks around you. Is there anybody that you can hang with for a while you kind of get your act together financially and figure out what that next step is?
Yes, there is. I guess the only thing that scares me is I know my mental health is already at stake, but my mental health, my kids are very little.
Yeah.
So that's the only thing really. Honestly,
and you're just afraid you can't. You're just afraid you won't be able to kind of take care of them on your own.
I can do it. It's mostly just living with somebody else and trying to, I guess, get along that way financially, and then honestly, it's just the part I came from separated parents, and I made a vow, so that's where I'm struggling. And I don't want him to fly off the
if
handle.
nothing else, you need to get counseling for yourself, even if he's not willing, just so that you understand how to move forward with this. But letting it just sit and fester and not do anything about it is about the worst thing we can do here for you and the kids and for him. If he needs to hit rock bottom to get his life together, well, help him meet rock bottom to speed this process up. I want this marriage to work, and I still believe there is hope, but we got to get him to a point where he's angry at the situation, where he goes, I got to be there for my kids.
Yeah, and you can't control that, Natalie. We hope that happens, but ultimately you're not in control of that. What you're in control of is you making a plan. What does that look like for you to get safe? What does that look for you to get healthy? If it's counseling, what do you need to be able to do financially? Start tonight, get in your journal and start writing out a financial plan, a mental plan, and even a locational plan for how you can make this work for your family. I hope you guys are able to reconcile.
And you've got to get people around you. You can't do this alone. It's just simply too hard. So if you need to find a church community in your area, do that. If you need to find friends who can come around you, do that. But this is going to take a lot of time to just rebuild the trust, even if this is going to work. But marriage isn't 50-50. It's 100-100.
Man,
and this guy's giving you 0 right now. And that is an unsustainable option.
We're praying for you.
This is The Ramsey Show.
What makes our show unique is that we genuinely care about our listeners. We're intentional about choosing the best advertisers to recommend. Blinds.com is no exception. They offer high-quality window treatments at unbelievable prices, and they make it simple to shop blinds, shades, and interior shutters with easy online ordering, free shipping, and a guaranteed perfect fit. Go to Blinds.com and take advantage of this week's special savings.
Welcome back to The Ramsey Show. I'm George Camel, joined by Jade Warshaw this hour. The number to call is 888-825-5225. All right, Jade, I want to talk about something that is kind of boring, but is also stressing people out. And it starts with F, then it goes D, then it goes I, then it goes C.
Ooh, okay.
You like that?
I think you just gave it away.
Federal Deposit Insurance Corporation. And this is a word people really, you only saw it at like banks on the little gold placard.
Remember FDIC.
But now it's all over the news.
Yeah, that's what they say.
Because of, Silicon Valley Bank, the bank run, the collapse, and all of a sudden FDIC is way more important. So I want to squelch some of the fears out there that people have around, is my money safe in the bank? That's what this comes down to.
Yes.
So let's talk about what the FDIC is and how it works. They insure trillions of dollars, bank deposits at more than 5,000 banks and savings in the U.S. It's an independent federal agency that kind of functions like insurance for the banks.
So the banks are saying, we need help taking on this risk in case something were to happen and we can't fund it. You guys step in and fund the...
It's that simple. We have car insurance because we can't cover the big stuff, and the banks do the same for themselves. So they pay these insurance premiums, and that's how it works.
So how does the coverage work then, George?
So if a bank fails, the FDIC swoops in and reimburses customers for any lost money. So if you had $40,000 with a bank, the bank collapses, the government's like, hey, we got your back.
I'm not losing anything.
You're not losing a dime.
Okay.
So they take over the failed bank, and they work to transfer the loans and deposit that to a healthy bank to where your money is safe. And they also now have ownership of all the bank's assets.
Wow. Okay. So they can sell off what they need. They can liquidate whatever they need to in order to make sure your money's secure.
Exactly. So how much money does the FDIC insure? It's up to $250,000 per depositor, per insured bank, for each account ownership category. So that's a lot of word salad to say this. If you're a single person, you're covered up to $250,000.
That's a bag.
If you have a joint account, you and Sam have a joint account, you're covered up to $500,000.
Wow.
Because it's $250,000 per person.
Okay.
So
now, can you explain a little bit on if let's say I'm at Chase Bank and I've got a savings account that's got a large sum of money, and let's say I've got a checking account that's got some money, and let's just say I have a couple of CDs or something with them.
Yes.
How does that work?
This is where the account categories come into play. And so checking and savings would be one category.
Okay.
Versus a CD or a trust. Mm-hmm. Those would be different categories.
Okay.
And so if you have, I don't know why, this probably relates to no one out there who's like, well, that's perfect. I have $800,000 sitting across my...
Only Dave Ramsey.
You could open accounts at different banks.
Yeah.
If you want to be safe. So $250 in one bank, $250 in another bank, $250 in another bank.
So case in point, let's just say you sold your house and you've got a nice little nest egg of change. Let's say you sold your house, you got $300,000 you're sitting on. And you're like, that's just over the limit. You could, if you really wanted to be safe, you could say, I'm going to put some of this with Ally Bank high yield savings account, and I'm going to put some of it, at one of the other high yield savings accounts.
Yeah. And I would rather have it in a high yield savings account anyways.
Facts.
Making, 3 or 4%. So it doesn't apply to a lot of people, but everyone's kind of freaked out by this. But rest assured, the FDIC has never failed in this way. They've never run out of money. They've got, over $100 billion plus any bank assets that come their way through these collapses that they can sell off. Now, so what this doesn't cover, Jade, is investments. So your stocks, your bonds, your mutual funds, your crypto, life insurance, annuities. Mm-hmm. And so you're taking on a risk by investing into the stock market. The bank's not going to cover you when you lose your money.
The only way that there might be some coverage there is, when you first put that money over to the brokerage before you've invested it, and it's just kind of like sitting as cash on hand in that money market, that would be protected, I would think, up to $250,000.
Yes.
But go on ahead and invest that money. Don't just let that money be sitting there.
That's the bigger thing. If you called in and you're worried about this, I'm going, what are you doing sitting on $800,000?
Tripping.
Either invest it, put it towards real estate.
Yeah.
Use it towards something. Maybe you just have that across multiple high yield savings accounts. Worst case. That's what I would do if I had that much sitting in cash.
Yeah.
Which I don't. So don't come at me.
We won't come at you,
So here's the bottom line. Stop worrying about everyone else but yourself. You are in control of your finances. Sleep easy at night. This is not a problem people need to worry about.
No.
They're scared of what if everyone did a bank run at once in the United States and we didn't have enough? We got bigger problems at that point, America.
Problems. Yeah. And we've never,
we experienced it with toilet paper. Remember that during the pandemic? Everyone freaked out. There wasn't going to be enough toilet paper. And all of a sudden there wasn't enough toilet paper.
Yes, but I never met, and I might be going too far here. I never met one person who was like, Jade, I wasn't able to take care of business. We found a way.
Listen, you got to
Did you meet anybody?
I'm just saying, I'm not trying to use generic brand. Okay, you go down to one ply, you're in a dark situation.
I had somebody give me a bunch of one ply rolls, as a fail safe, in case we ran out. And do you know what happened? 2020 went on, and that one ply stayed in our garage. I ended up giving it away because there's some places I'm not going.
Hey, that brings a whole new meaning to if crap hits the fan. There you go. I'll end it there. But hey, we've got a great blog on this topic. FDIC, not toilet paper. Go to RamseySolutions.com. We'll also put it in the show notes. All right, let's get to the phones. Kelly joins us in Philadelphia. Kelly, welcome to the show.
Hi, thank you for taking the time to speak with me today.
Sure. What's your question?
So let me preface this with saying that I was previously involved in a financially abusive relationship. So I take financial security very seriously and makes me nervous. I am in a somewhat new relationship. The relationship I'm referencing was 4 years ago, so we're past that. This new relationship is moving along quickly. However, I just found out that they have a significant amount of debt with not a lot of income, and I'm just not sure if it's something I should, try to work with them through, or if I'm just sort of putting myself in a bad situation considering their tendencies to make poor decisions with money.
Was he hiding it and you found out, or you were just talking about it and he...
It's just kind of come up naturally.
So it's bits and pieces. It started when we were talking about the hypothetical wedding stuff, and I said, given my history, I was leaning more towards separate accounts. The more I learn about, this program, I learned that you want to be able to share accounts. But for sake of the conversation, I mentioned separate accounts, and he got really offended. And I brought up, I was like, well, you've told me that you're bad with money before, and I didn't know what that meant. Then he mentioned a low credit score, and I'm like, well, we got to fix that before we get married. I mean, I can't have it affect my car insurance and all my rates and everything. I've worked too hard to get where I'm at.
How long have you been
dating? Got to a point, 4 months.
Wow. We're already talking about marriage?
Yeah, and that's the other thing too, is I sort of am kind of feeling like maybe there's a reason why he's trying to move, like put pressure on it. He knows that financially I'm secure. I mean, I'm not a millionaire yet.
Do you
but
think
it's one
You
of
think
those
he's
things,
using you in a sense of like, well, she's financially secure, I'm going to hitch my cart to this wagon?
Yeah, is he trying to freeload?
I don't think that, but I do know, and he admitted that if I didn't push and pry about what's your credit, what do you owe, that he would have kept it from me because I'm the only person in his life he has ever told about his debt.
Okay. I mean, it may just come from a place of shame and guilt and baggage. Sure. So if we're going to give him the benefit of the doubt, but I agree, we need to pump the brakes on this relationship. And here's the thing we need to figure out: values and goals. Because people are willing to change.
Right.
I mean, I would never say, hey, don't date a guy because he has debt. But if you say, this guy says he's fine staying in debt and he's fine where he's at, that's a huge red flag to me.
Yeah, is he willing? Is he actively working to pay off some of this debt? Is he saying things like, yeah, once I get out of debt, blah blah blah, or what are his views moving forward? Because just because he started there, that doesn't necessarily mean that's his future. So.
Yeah, so we had to talk about it once I found out that it's $70,000 and 50 of it was acquired in the past 2 to 3 years by just credit card nonsense, knowingly spending money he didn't have. And, he said he's willing to work through. I mean, I went through a budget with him and everything. There's not a ton of money left to spend. He's willing to do it, but I was open about my concerns that it could happen again, and he got very defensive.
I would listen to this voice, Kelly, and what I'm going to do is send you 2 copies of the Total Money Makeover. Read through it with him. And if he has a heart change and he's ready to go gun-ho and get rid of this, stay with him. Welcome back to The Ramsey Show. I'm George Campbell, joined by Jade Warshaw. Hey, if you like the show, which I hope you do if you're listening right now, please consider subscribing to the show wherever you're listening, leaving a review, and sharing this with a friend. If you're anything like me, it's hard to keep a lot of shows in your Rolodex in the wheelhouse, and when a friend tells me about it, I go, all right, I'm actually going to check that out. And so if you've been impacted by the principles on the show, the advice on the show, we just want to spread hope and impact this year, and one of the best ways we do that is through you guys, so thank you so much. All right, Jade, Smart Conference Weekend is coming up, and we're almost out of tickets, so if you've been waiting, don't wait. Grab your ticket now. It's about to be sold out. This is our first event in the brand new Ramsey Event Center here in Nashville. It's just up the hill from our headquarters where we're sitting right now. And in addition to giving you life-changing, practical, and proven wisdom to help you be successful in every area of your life, we're going to celebrate like crazy. So April 14th and 15th, join myself, Dave Ramsey, Rachel Cruz, Dr. John Deloney, Ken Coleman, and Jade Warshaw for an amazing weekend. We're going to talk about how to crush debt, how to find work that you love to do, and improve your overall well-being. We'd love to meet you and hear your story, maybe even grab a photo and sign something for you. And don't forget, because this is the first event at the new Ramsey Event Center, every ticket includes a special commemorative badge.
Ooh,
how fun is that?
I love that.
That's exclusive. So general tickets start at just $119 each, but they're almost gone. And remember, this is a 2-day event. It is my favorite event that we do. The energy's just out of control. We've got a live band. It's a whole experience. Go to RamseySolutions.com/events and grab yours today and join us in Nashville, Tennessee, April 14th and 15th.
So exciting. I got to do a run through
on the real stage in there.
In the new
How
building.
was it?
Man, it's sleek and sexy up in there. That's all I got to say. It is a nice building, a nice stage. The sound system, whew.
The team spared no expense.
No, it's on point.
All
you
cash.
guys.
All cash, let me remind you.
Okay.
That's how we roll. All right, let's
Love it.
get to the phones. David's up next in Tulsa. David, welcome to the show.
Well, thank you for taking my call, George and Jade.
Absolutely.
I had a question regarding moving from gazelle intensity to intentionality. So I've always been the type of person with the personality of like, gazelle intensity was easy. 2 jobs, went to school. In fact, I'm finishing up my bachelor's right now in computer science.
Awesome.
And as I'm coming to the end of it, I'm also about to come to the end of baby step 3, finishing my emergency fund. I've been trying to figure out, like, how do I make the mental switch of not being so busy, not taking on so much work, to being intentional?
That's a great question. I'm assuming you're, 22?
32.
Oh, wow.
You got a young voice.
So I'm curious about this, David. What happened in the last 10 years? It sounds like there was a shift for you.
So the last 10 years, I honestly started my debt-free journey in 2017. I had a major medical crisis, and I put all of my medical bills on a credit card. And then I had a panic attack because I was like, oh, no, this is a problem.
Wow.
And so but I actually hadn't discovered you guys quite yet. I just knew that I had a big major debt, and that was a problem. And so I started just taking on jobs, paying it off. I finally landed a job that was like 40 hours a week, and apparently I just mentally got bored and decided to pick up a side gig. And then I decided to go back to school, and I cash flowed school and all that.
Wow. Is that why you were gazelle intense? So you paid off the medical debt, cash flowed school. You've always had a big goal.
Get rid of that medical. Yeah.
That's interesting. What you talk about is so real. I hear this a lot, even in the FPU class that I was just in. It's hard for people to shift from that, because when you're in debt, and your reason it was medical bills, people have that feeling where it's like, crap, I have all this debt, and they get scared. And that's kind of like that visceral moment of like, I got to get out of this. And you're running away from something, and you're running so hard. It's creating, that adrenaline. It's creating that feeling of excitement. Like, okay, I'm getting out of debt. Then you get out of debt, you get your savings done. And then it's like, okay, what next? And that's when you really kind of have to shift your why over to, it's not just about getting out of debt anymore. It's not just about like running for your life anymore. Now you get to run towards something, and you need to create that same excitement around that. And so a lot of times it just looks like sitting down and dreaming a little bit and going, man, okay, I'm out of 3, baby step 3, I'm out of baby step 3B. Now I get to start putting away money for me and investing and really deciding what this next part of my life looks like, and getting truly excited about that, and working to create that same, even though you're not moving as quickly, you're intentional, but you have that same kind of why motivation behind it. Does that make sense for you?
It does. So is there any, any best good practices as far as sitting down and finding that next why? Like, I feel like I've sat down, but
Well, I'll tell you what I do, David. I split it into 3 categories because there's only 3 things you can do with money: give, save, spend. And the problem people find themselves in, if they're big savers, all they do is save. And so they're not open-handed with giving, and they're not enjoying life with spending. Or they spend all their money and they have nothing in savings. They're not or they're super generous, but they are also not. They're unbalanced on the other sides. And so split it up. If you have a goal, are you renting right now?
No, I own my house.
Awesome. And are you single?
Yes.
Okay. So I would set some goals and say, all right, on the spending category, it's time to upgrade the car. Mm-hmm. I want to go on that vacation. I'm going to up the food budget a little bit now that I'm out of baby step 3. I want to eat out. I want to go out with friends.
A little upgrade.
On the spending side. Saving side, maybe it's, hey, I want to pay off this house early. So I'm going to set aside a big chunk of money to do that while I invest 15%. Then on the giving side, I'm going to say, all right, I'm going to do 10% to my local church. I want to just spontaneously give someone a huge tip once a month when I'm out to eat. And that helps me feel balanced personally to where I'm not over-indexing on one side. So just set a few goals in each category, and you turn investing on autopilot. You turn your extra mortgage payment on autopilot, and the rest you get to enjoy through doing a budget.
How's that hit you, David?
No, that hits me good. I think it's the dreaming part I have to, like you mentioned, I have to hone that in a little bit.
We can't do that for you. I could sit here and be like, David, here's my dream for you. It's got to be David's dream. And so find out what those things are, what those things that light you up. Some people, like Dave Ramsey, just loves to work. The dude's also in Cabo this week. So he also knows how to unplug. He loves to golf. And so start to explore. What are those hobbies? Maybe, maybe there's something where you find a whole new community of friends that you love to do. But that's going to take some exploring, and you have the freedom to do that when you're not so focused on working 30 extra hours a week to pay off debt.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, get you a journal and start asking some questions. What makes you angry in the world? And those are the types of things that's like, I want to give money to that. I want to be generous in those areas. What are the things that give me energy in life? What are the things I enjoy doing? What are some of the things I wish I was better at? And those might point to some of the hobbies that you might want to, get involved in. So just start asking yourself some questions and get to know David a little bit better. You were intense, and you could put your head down and you just go. But now you get to look up.
This is a debt-free, eat, pray, love journey David's about to embark on. And I'm excited for you, man.
I am too. This is good.
I actually really like that advice, the journal. I've never done that before and never thought of it from that perspective.
Mm-hmm.
It's very helpful. I like to just get the thoughts out on paper.
Yeah.
It helps me get them out of my brain.
Yes.
Because there's only so much room in there. It's not a big brain, But this is a great problem people have.
It is
when they get out of debt and they follow our plan, because our plan, you've got to be driven, and it's a process. But then they go, what now? We took a call earlier from someone who paid off their house. They're in baby step 7, and they're going, what do I do now?
Yeah. Yeah. It's interesting, baby step 2, 3, it'll get you addicted to that feeling of like, I gotta go fast, like that Ricky Bobby, you gotta go fast all the time. And at some point, you don't have to. You can slow down. You can enjoy the finer things, the fruit of your labor, George.
But you
can
feel
enjoy
like you're doing something wrong now because you thought, well, that was normal.
Yeah.
But we were just being weird to get to a place where we can be extra weird.
That's
live like
right.
no one else, so later we can live and give like no one else.
Yeah.
And people forget about the second part.
Yes.
They just keep living like no one else.
Yes.
But they forget to upgrade the car and go on the vacation and do the thing you always wanted to do. And that thing you used to do when you were 12 years old, go do that again.
Yes.
Start the side business.
Love
and
that.
Start exploring that and do it without debt, and then you'll have no regret. It's that simple. But I'm proud of David for taking the right steps to do that, finishing his bachelor's in computer science. Bright young man right there. Mm-hmm. Hey, more of your calls coming up. Hit us up, 888-825-5225. This is The Ramsey Show. Welcome back to The Ramsey Show. Our scripture of the day, Ephesians 2:10. For we are God's handiwork, created in Christ Jesus to do good works, which God prepared in advance for us to do. Elon Musk said, I think it is possible for ordinary people to choose to be extraordinary. Hey, Ephesians and Elon, there you go. That's never a dull Friday around here.
I've never seen those two that close to each other.
And you'll never see them again. This is a first and last on The Ramsey Show. Well, hey, do you get a little heartburn every time you see the total when you check out at the grocery store? It's hard to pinch pennies at the supermarket when your dollar doesn't stretch as far as it used to. And in this week's edition of the Ramsey newsletter, we've got 30 tips to still get you what you need at the grocery store without wrecking your budget. And it's totally free to sign up. Just go to RamseySolutions.com/newsletter to subscribe to our Sunday newsletter and learn how to save money on groceries. It's a tough one, Jade. I know you're big on the grocery savings, the meal prep, the meal plan, but not everyone is as blessed as you in that arena.
That's true. Some people really hate cooking. They really hate, doing what it takes. But I try to make it easy to where even if you don't like cooking, even if that's not really your thing, you can still implement these tips, save money on groceries, and really learn how to eat at home in an easy way.
I respect it. All right, go check it out.
Check it out.
Let's get to the phones. Emily joins us in Dallas, Texas up next. Emily, how you doing?
Hi, George. Hi, Jade. I am hoping to get y'all's blessing on whether my family and I should move, even though it will mean an increase in rent.
Okay.
So this past school year, I took a job that's about 50 minutes away from where we currently live. We're in baby step 2 with about $17,000 left, which feels like the home stretch to us. But this year has been sort of taxing with 2 young kids and driving an hour each way to and from school. And I feel like moving closer, even though it's an increase, will just feel better. And so we didn't initially move because we wanted to make sure it was a good job fit. And we are definitely feeling like it's somewhere I want to be long term. And so we're hoping that maybe this summer we can make that move, but just not sure if it's the smartest decision with still being in baby step 2.
So what's your game plan for getting out of this $17,000 in debt? How long would that take?
If we stay where we're at, about 6 to 7 months.
And if you move, it will extend that by at least a few months?
I mean, if increase in rent would be about $800 to $1,000 increase, so maybe a year, but I'm thinking that I'll be closer to gigs that I can do contract, hoping that it's a little motivation.
What's your household income?
Because take home this coming year will be $112 to $115.
Okay, and then what is the rent going to be if you move?
If we move, at our max would be $2,300. We would like to be closer to the $2,000.
Hey, how old are your kids?
They are 3 and 1.
Okay, so we're not talking about pulling kids out of school midway through the year. That sort of thing is not really an issue.
No, not at all.
Okay, that's good.
I mean, the numbers check out. As far as it not being too much of your take-home pay, you're right at about 25% if you guys move and you keep your current income. Now, you are saving a little bit on gas. Is that right?
True.
Yes.
And your sanity,
Yeah, my
which
husband
counts
will
for
still
something.
be working. He'll still be working. He's a firefighter in the town that we currently live in, so he'll be driving every third day, which will be less than less than I drive now.
So he's not driving every day?
No.
How many times? Just twice a week?
He works every third day, so about 2 to 3 times a week. I go to school 5 to 6 times a week.
And he's okay and on board with his commute getting longer?
Yes, it's pretty typical in that field.
Is there anything closer to where you would be moving that he can transfer to? Is there a fire station there?
No, it's a career. He's at a very good station.
Okay.
That he would not want to move from. Or department, I guess.
At first, it sounded like a really great idea because you were cutting out that big commute. But then when you kind of threw in the side that, well, now my husband's going to be doing that commute in the opposite direction, it kind of took the the halo off of it for me.
Yeah.
Have you looked into options for your job? Is there another place you could work that's closer to where you're at right now that could pay the same or more?
No.
It just doesn't exist?
Necessarily in this North Texas area. It would be a decrease of $5,000 to $8,000 a year.
I'm not saying this is a bad plan, but I kind of want to put out there that you also, if you guys choose to make this move, but now he's the one doing the commute, you might be on borrowed time again. Like he might, the same way that you're feeling the pinch for whatever reason, maybe it's because you're the one in the car every day. I just wonder if after a while he's going to start feeling that. And if that's the case, fine, you'll figure out what that pivot is. But this is
a Band-Aid at that case.
Exactly.
Yeah. Well, I don't think it's a
part of me
bad move
thinks that-
financially.
I'm feeling we want to live in that direction long term. And so I think we're sort of gauging, kind of testing the waters, is whether he will be comfortable with that drive or not also. And it's different because he works 24-hour shifts versus I'm working 8 to 10 hours a day.
True that.
Sort of the difference.
Well, you can always do it, and then 6 months from now, we reconvene and go, this ain't it, and just look at your lease terms and make sure you're not in a pinch on that. But I'd also make sure it doesn't slow down your debt payoff. And so I'd go, all right, it was going to be 7 months. I'm willing now to pick up those contract gigs to keep it at 7 months, even with the increase in rent.
I almost feel like that's the must. Like that's not really a
That would be our
option.
caveat if you do this.
Yes.
But I get
feel
it.
that too.
I'm not a commute guy. I think you're going to get your sanity back and a lot of time back with those kiddos.
Yes, I hope so.
Well,
All
hey,
right. Well, thank you so much.
Yeah, thanks for the call, Emily. Appreciate it. Let's finish out with Andre in New York City. Andre, welcome to the show.
Yes, hi. First-time caller, long-time listener.
Glad you made the leap.
Thank you.
How can we help?
So my question is, I recently traded in my reliable Toyota Camry, which I owed about $12,000 on, and I had for about 3 years, and then I finally ended up getting so-called my dream car, which is a 2020 Jeep Wrangler. And I took out about $10,000 out of my savings as a down payment for the car, and it's a 3-year loan. It's about $1,100 a month. But I also just recently got a part-time job to kind of help pay for the car, and now I don't know if I really need the part-time job or not because I'm already working full-time 6 days a week from 7 to 5 at my first job, and now the part-time job is from 6 p.m. to midnight.
Goodness gracious!
But it's not every day. But then, so pretty much every day back and forth. I'm like, do I really need the job? Do I not?
I'm asking if you really need the car.
Yeah.
And then we get rid of the job and the car.
Well, yeah.
What's your take-home pay monthly?
So after taxes, I'm taking home about $4,000 a month.
No.
Dude, you got a mortgage payment in a depreciating asset. Is this the dream that you dreamed of?
This is a nightmare, George.
You better be living in that car if it's $1,100 a month. In New York City, how often are you driving?
I also have about a 60-mile per day commute.
No.
This ain't it, man. How much is the car worth? And what do you owe on it?
Well, without interest, it's $32,000. With interest, it's $42,000.
Well, if you sold it today, you'd get $32,000. Is that what you're saying?
I haven't really looked, but yeah. But
and what do you owe on it? What's the loan?
It's a 3-year loan, $1,100 a month.
What's the total on the loan that's left?
Well, since I just got the car about 2 months, I want to say about $32,000.
So sell it today before you're upside down, please.
All it takes is one more weird thing with this car market, and all of a sudden you're upside down on this car, and you have to keep that part-time job.
Mm-hmm.
Right now you have the option, but yeah, right now you need that part-time job as long as you have a freaking $1,100 car payment.
But the other thing, I just want to tell you guys something. So I take home the $4,000 a month. So $1,000 of that's rent, $1,100 the car.
Sell the car, Andre.
Dude, I don't know. I'm looking at these numbers going, Andre's broke. I don't know how you spin it in a way where you're not. And the reason is because of that car. So I'm increasing income, getting rid of the car, and then we can stop the side job.
Get out while you still can.
Whew. That puts this hour of The Ramsey Show in the books. Hey, it's George Camel. If you like what you heard in this episode and want to know more about getting started on the Ramsey baby steps, go to RamseySolutions.com and click on the Get Started button. We'll help you figure out the best next step for you based on your specific situation. That's RamseySolutions.com and click Get Started.